Hi, Kathy Vick, Deeply Awake. Well, it's Friday, and the Lion's Gate is on Monday, and we're walking into the eclipse season. My hair is up because I'm going to go to work, and I've got a foof. Yeah, the eclipse season, I don't know much about that. I know the eclipses are, energetically big. What does an eclipse do? Well, I think it resets things. I think that what it does is it interrupts, and it creates certain triggers that are very potent magnetically. That's my hit on it. And so they can be ridden. So let's talk a little bit about celestial triggers, because I only got a few minutes. So, some people don't go looking for this kind of stuff, and that's totally cool. It's no big deal. No harm, no foul. But some people are interested in astrology, and it's very interesting. If you're into that kind of thing, you can go pretty far with it. I like quantum astrologers and Jungian astrologers. I'm getting more into the Sabian symbols too. I find only because they are actually quite accurate. That's the only reason I think that they have any merit, because I thought at first it was just astrologers sort of I don't know, not being very original. But it's not the case. It's like me referencing Cryon or whatever. If it's a good resource, and it's only a good resource for me because I was skeptical and cynical, and then I found that there was correlation. So it's kind of dumb to, in my opinion, it's not the wisest thing to ignore the Sabian symbols because they're very potent. What's a celestial trigger? Well, that would be just really any movements, but then when you've got trines or squares or grand crosses or yods or alignments, big deal. Why? Well, the idea here is that there is a geometric matrix that is galactic. And that also the other idea is that what rides above is what sings below. As above, so below. As within, so without. There was one day I was driving around, and I could feel as I drove. I remember being at a stoplight, and I was overcome with realizing that I could feel the movements of the planets. Just at that moment, I could feel everything. That's why I really like that movie Lucy. That one scene where the trees are all and she can hear things and see things. Yeah, I know about that. Because I realized in that one moment the truth of it, that each of these planets is a mass with its own chemical signature and consciousness, and that they're doing this beautiful dance, and this dance is reflected in the magnetics of our planet. Our planet is impacted, and because we as a people can look up at the stars and then decide that they have meaning, it's a mass consciousness, it's agreement, it's a group agreement what these things mean. And I would submit that they're ancient. Some of these meanings are from the beginning. They're based in fact, not fiction, fact. And so I do believe that we have, all you have to do is look at your iris and then look at many different things that look the same. It's really fun to look at pictures of the solar system or of space, and then the human body. They're so much similar. It's just amazing. Think that might be a clue? Think that might be a tracer? Like the fact that butterflies are around here and we can see the metaphor. Just anytime we really want to look on YouTube, we can see the metaphor of our spiritual becoming. Could it be that magical? So I think that's it. So these triggers, how sensitive are you? Can you feel the emotional temperature of a room of people? Can you intuit greater understandings from a simple conversation? Are you struck with a reality that perhaps may not even be spoken when contemplating a particular life issue or individual? So I want to end by saying some very basic things that keep coming through, and then I really have to go. One is that it's always struck me since I was a girl. When I think about people who I love, when I think about people who have moved me or impacted me, who I respect intellectually or whatever, good God, I hope they love themselves. I hope they respect themselves as much as I do. Respect them. It seems to me that the only real obligation we have is to love and respect ourselves. It just, it's one of those things that just always sort of walks with me. It's hard to apply. Because, I want to just mention that, you think you can do these celestial triggers wrong? I want to ask you. I don't think so. Since some people don't even know about them, and they function quite well. Or if you know about them, can you do it wrong? No. Is there one set way that you should celebrate? Oh, I don't know, the equinox or a solstice or... You see where I'm going? Those are agreements too. How we're going to scurry about on the planet and, honor or worship or whatever these grand events in the sky. I guess it all comes down to our interpretation, right? The interpretation of the observer. And quantum reality is a funny one in that it is observer generated. The observer changes the event. So one thing that came through was that I realized it a while ago. I had it channeled to me. I didn't understand why there was amnesia. And I always thought it was because I was dumb. If I could just pierce that veil, I'd know it all. And I'd never be surprised, la la la. Well, guess what? Yet last night I was listening to Magenta Pixie. It was great. Man, oh man, the last two of them that I listened to. 3 Days of Darkness Explained, and then the Lionsgate, the 888 for this year. Powerful, powerful channelings. Very, very technical, actually. And very, very much what I feel is in alignment. There may be a few things that are off, but it's all it's all shades of magenta or whatever. Not gray, but there is a bit of personal interpretation that's allowed. And one of the things that was discussed in the 3 Days of Darkness was Magenta Pixie had channeled something about 3 Days of Darkness being literal. And I had heard that and thought, yeah, well, okay, sure. Okay. And then now, here's this thing that says, okay, so we'd like to explain why there wasn't 3 Days of Darkness and why it was stated that there would be. And it was fascinating. And one of the things was knowledge, future warning, changes outcome. And this was made very, very plain to me during a peak of channeling, as I was talking about linear reality and reality construction. This dawned on me. If you have the information, it changes the reality. And some things must be hidden because it's not appropriate to monkey with them. So that means you got to be cool with not knowing, because to know would change the outcome. Interesting. So, are we supposed to know what the outcome is of these celestial triggers? Well, no. We can intuit how we feel about, or what we expect, and we can intuit with our innate what the meanings might hold for this year. But when it comes to events, oh yes, it's very nice to have the cushion of, oh yes, this is what's going to happen next. I can pencil this in, this amazing thing that's going to happen in December of whatever year. And right now, timelines are shifting that based on decisions that are made, based on whole swaths of reality that are agreed to or not agreed to. And this is the time to make decisions as to how you're going to hold yourself and how you're going to behave. And this changes how the world behaves because it's quantum reality. La la. So, loving yourself, big deal. I think it's the only real 11/11. It's the only real obligation we have as human beings. If we're not in love with ourselves, then we're missing the point. So I'll end with that. You've been in love before, right? Isn't it funny how everything suddenly is unicorn glitter and roses petals, and you just can love everybody a little bit more effectively? Funny, isn't it? Funny. Yeah. And life just goes better. It's a little bit more magical. And the idea is, of course, to, between two people, to work through whatever issues are there so that that kind of filial goodwill and sexual zing is there all the time. Isn't that the idea? I don't understand doing it any other way. I don't get attaching to something that's dead. I don't understand that. I detach from things that are dying or dead or are killing me. And some people don't. They wonder why their lives turn to shit. And part of it has to do with the mindset we have toward the things that we consider so horrible. True. And some of it is just saying, yeah, this is horrible. Yeah, no, I don't want this. Isn't it sort of like taking a thorn out of your paw? If there's something in your life that consistently causes you pain. Yeah. So sometimes other people are pulling out your thorn. Sometimes you pull your own thorn out. But if you have something in your life that is creating massive pain, well, I always figure when I see somebody else in pain, here's the truth of it. The human body cannot, and the human psyche, cannot tolerate that level of dysfunction for long without illness or tragedy. It's not normal. The normal state is, if not agreement, well, yeah, I think agreement. The normal state, gratitude, enjoyment, lightness. It doesn't mean that there's a Stepford kind of a reality. There's depth with that. And because there's duality, sure, there's darkness too. And so my son and I were talking about light and dark on the way home yesterday. And he's telling me his light quotient to dark quotient and his preferences in expression. This is fine. It's awesome. It's not mine, and that's good. That's the idea. That's the idea. So it was really good to hear him just, I don't know, let loose and tell me his reality. And I think it's really true that this community, I think, and myself too, oh, well, if I'm really together, I'm going to be happy all the time. No, I'm going to be in agreement all the time. Well, overall, yeah. Yeah. I think that's the point. To be in agreement with your reality. But that brings up a very interesting point, does it not? If you are in full and frank disagreement with your reality, the question is, do you, as the creator of that reality, change the reality? Or do you, as creator, change yourself? And I submit that there are some times when people use abusive situations as ashrams. And they think that's going to be the way that they're going to find God and be whole, to put up with shit. That this somehow is, makes them a good soldier. When they've created a shitty situation, an intolerable situation, through their own actions and the actions of others combined. And they have a pile of shit they're working through now. Well, that's karma, dear. That's karma. You created it. Nobody else's fault. You brought it on. What are you going to do about it? If you are in pain because of your reality, you're going to change yourself or you're going to change your reality? I think that it's a matter of realizing that you are valuable even if your reality is telling you that you're not. And then making decisions based on that value. And in my world, that means at times dismissing things that are that I find insulting or painful, that I once put up with because I thought it was noble, or because it held answers for me. And I changed. So I changed the reality. How do I do that? Well, by either saying yes or saying no, or doing a combination of that. And so I think this idea of a golden age where everybody's always happy all the time, well, here's the question. If you love yourself, if you honor yourself and respect yourself, and hold yourself with those feelings, how bad can your reality get? How bad are your choices going to be? Who does someone hang out with when that someone really, really values themselves and values their peace of mind and happiness and joy? Are they going to literally, voluntarily hang out with people who are mean or who are unpleasant in that someone's opinion? Maybe that someone really enjoys being criticized or being put down, or just because they like spiritual weightlifting. Well, good. Enjoy that. You're going to be real strong. When does it come? When do you decide that you could do it easier? It doesn't have to be so hard. And that maybe if it isn't hard, it's still noble. What? You mean I don't have to suffer? I don't have to hate myself and recover from insults and injuries that are given to me by people who I find insulting and injurious, to love myself? Really? I can just go ahead and do that now without the foil? Really? Well, then suddenly, when you have that, do you need a lot of foils? That's the question. So to end, I remember driving into my parking garage one day, and I realized, I've been feeling pretty good the last few days. And the time that I've felt the very best in life, like the peaks, is when I've really felt like I've screwed up so beyond the beyond that it's irretrievable. It's not fixable. And then someone comes along and says, bing! And I realized that the dire situation I had in my mind, that was my reality, it just seems like with love, boom, things get better. And I realized that a lot of times I would have that opening, that I'm really okay. Wow, I really can forgive myself. Wow, it's really going to be all right. After somebody else had to confer it to me, and it was after I had made a mess. And as I'm driving into the parking lot, I realize, wait a minute, I can have that all the time. I don't necessarily have to have my life explode to feel that. I can just see that that's part of the drop-down menu, and I can give that to myself now. I don't have to wait for someone else. I don't have to wait for a disaster to be somehow rescued from my feelings of having done it wrong. That's really what it comes. Isn't this all about? Hasn't this been about right and wrong? If you're doing it right, if you're doing it wrong. Can you do a celestial trigger wrong? No. Can you do your life wrong? No. But I mean, I think that central tenet of being satisfied, just being satisfied, being happy in yourself. And then the question is, okay, so you're happy in yourself, and no matter what your environment is, great. So look around. What's your environment like? And if it's abusive, and by that I mean simply that it is unpleasant, I consider abusive behavior critical, demeaning, minimizing, pushy, telling me what to do, who to be, how to feel, that what I feel, think, and do is wrong, and their way is right. Why fucking hang out with those kind of people then? Why do it? Good question, huh? Oh, because I love them. Really? Okay, then you love that. Emotional matrix. Own it. You love being minimized. You love being put down. You love being hurt. You love being shunned or whatever. You love things being hard. Own it. Oh, I love misery. Okay, good. You're happy in your misery. Good. Or you're miserably happy, one of the two. I was. But I think that's the thing. I think that's the duality that we're all kind of cracking out of in our own way. What's more satisfying? Is it looking for a Stepford reality? No, I just think I don't know if it's really that. Why is it so wrong to think that life can be happy and generally satisfying and generally pleasant? Why is that crazy? I think I'll end on that note. Why would that be crazy? Why would that be something that is looked down upon? Because I will tell you, it is. Why? I think that if it can be achieved, it's no longer minimized. It's embraced, and then it is promulgated, promoted, preserved, protected. So, I hope that you are happy in your reality. Isn't that the idea? Isn't that the point? Being satisfied in your reality, because you created it. Whatever's around you, you've created. If you don't like it, you don't like the people you're around, you don't like the situation you're in, and you think it's unchangeable. Yeah. It's not. It's simply not. There's a solution. It just is riding above what is singing below. Happy Friday.